Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving straight into one of the absolute most conceptually massive, physically profound undertakings in human history. We're getting right into the thick of a super potent piece of text titled The Abyss of the Kola Superdeep Borehole. So before we break down the specifics, I want you to just ask yourself a question. How deep can humanity really reach? Take a second and actually imagine the absolute physical limits of our urge to push downward into the earth. You know, it's totally human nature to look up at the stars and wonder just how far we can go, right? But we rarely look straight down, beneath our feet, and ask that exact same question with the exact same level of ambition. Think about normal human digging for a second. You know, a shovel in a garden, maybe an excavator at a construction site, or even a standard mine shaft. It's a pretty everyday, totally relatable act. But contrast that with the subject of our source material today, the absolute deepest hole humans have ever dug. We aren't just moving dirt here, guys. We are literally pushing the very boundaries of engineering and human endurance. Section 1. The Kola Superdeep Borehole. The Kola Superdeep Borehole. I mean, just the name alone carries this incredible weight and ambition, doesn't it? It sounds almost mythological, like something straight out of a sci-fi novel. But no, this is a very real piece of human history, and it's one that completely forces us to reckon with our own physical limitations. Now, to really grasp the nature of this project, we have to look at the terminology for a second. A borehole is defined as a deep, narrow hole made in the ground, especially to locate water or oil. So this isn't some massive, sprawling, open-pit crater. It's an incredibly precise, heavily calculated excavation. It's basically a surgical strike directly downward into the Earth's crust. But then, it's this prefix that really changes the whole shebang. Super deep. Extending downward to an extreme or profound depth. This tells us right away that we aren't just looking at some standard geological surveying project. Not even close. This is an expedition that demands resources and sheer determination on a totally unprecedented scale. All right, moving on to Section 2, the deepest hole. Our source text distills this entire monumental effort into one single, unforgettable phrase. The deepest hole humans have ever dug. Out of all the centuries of history and all the crazy technology we've developed, this project represents the absolute final limit of our downward reach. The really crucial point here is buried right within the individual layers of that quote. Think about it. First, humans. This speaks directly to our collective ambition as a species. It's a massive testament to human curiosity. Second, have ever. That signifies absolute finality. It's an unbreakable record that is permanently stamped into the earth. And finally, dug. Which brings it all back to the physical, grueling act of just breaking rock. It's such a raw, primal word to use when describing a highly advanced technical achievement, isn't it? Which brings us to Section 3, staring into the abyss. The source title uses a very, very specific word to describe this place. The abyss. It carries this haunting, heavy weight, doesn't it? It just perfectly matches the atmospheric tension of journeying that intensely far into the dark. An abyss is defined as a deep or seemingly bottomless chasm. So why does the source use this specific, honestly almost poetic word for a scientific drill site? Well, because at a certain depth, a physical man-made hole actually transforms into something else entirely. It becomes vast. It becomes completely unfathomable to the human mind. Basically, we stop simply digging into the ground and we start digging into the void. Our conceptual descent today follows 3 really distinct steps. Step 1, the urge to dig. You know, that basic, everyday human action. Step 2, the super deep borehole. That's the application of massive engineering to push that basic urge to its absolute extreme physical limit. And finally, step 3, the final abyss. That is the tipping point where our scientific endeavor breaches the unknown and physical reality starts to feel almost mythological. Which brings us to a final lingering thought for you to take away from all this. When we stare into the deepest hole we've ever dug, what looks back from the abyss? It is a terrifying, yet completely wondrous mystery. It reminds us that while our reach as humans is truly profound, the depths of the unknown are still far, far deeper. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and remember to always keep questioning what lies beneath.